Hi everyone, so super exciting day today. I'm at Mercedes Benz World at Brooklands for their Historics auction. There's a ton of great cars here. Lots of Aston Martins, loads of old Mercedes, Jaguars, some Land Rovers, Austin Healeys, Triumphs, loads of unusual stuff as well. It's also a great setting with this Mercedes Benz World building behind the cars on 2 stories in that building. I've just had a last look around the cars I wanted to see outside, a Daimler, a couple of Land Rovers and a couple of DB9s actually. And now I'm going to head into the dry, so you'll join me looking around some cars, and then the auction starts in about half an hour, so I'll show you some of the shots that I took looking around the cars that interested me in a bit more detail yesterday, and then the actual auction and see what they go through for today. So I hope you enjoy it.
So I just thought I'd quickly show you up on the second story here in Mercedes Benz World, the inside. This is where I guess some of the premium cars are, some amazing cars here, and you can see out the old Brooklands track here and the skid pad that you can do some Mercedes drifting in. And they also have Formula 1 and some vintage cars here, which I'll show you at the end of this video. Here over here you can see this is where all the premium cars are, Ferraris, TESTAROSSA for example, and the auction takes place in the background. So I thought I'd start, given we're at Mercedes Benz World, with some pretty awesome Mercedes. There's quite a lot of Pagodas etc. here, starting with this 1967 250 SE Cabriolet. What an absolutely beautiful car this is. W108 era, I believe, so the 250 had 2.5 litre engine, of course, 150 horsepower and capable of 118 miles an hour, which wasn't bad back in the day, but just beautiful condition. I think there are only 26 of these made in right-hand drive. Obviously this is one of them. Only 3 keepers from new and 89,000 miles. It looks superb. New hood, I believe, recently, and loads of other work. Guided at 88 to 97,000 pounds. And then straight on to, in my eyes, even more beautiful Mercedes. So this is a 1958 190 SL. Again, right-hand drive with a hardtop. Very few of these came as right-hand drive, I think, to the UK. This is a 1.9 litre inline 4 on carbs, about 100 horsepower. So quite a bit less powerful than the 250. Been in Australia for a long time, had a full bare metal respray a couple of years ago, and it is just in exceptional condition. Guided at 140 to 160,000. So this is the 190 SL coming. Doesn't look like it's going to make the reserve price, to be honest.
It may not surprise you, but we will leave that one there, I'm afraid, at that money. We're going to move swiftly on.
So this seems to be Aston Martin V8 corner. There's several around here. This one is a 1974, so Series 3. Owned for 27 years, had loads of work, full engine rebuild and spray, looks lovely. But I'm going to concentrate on this one because this is possibly my favourite car in this auction. It looks absolutely superb. So this is the 1983 Aston Martin V8. This obviously red interior, which I wouldn't normally go for, but I think looks amazing. Contrasts brilliantly with the black paintwork. It's got a rare dogleg ZF manual gearbox. I think only 15 of these in right-hand drive. 3 owners, incredible history, including a £45,000 engine rebuild to X-Pack specification. So this is now up to 5.7 litres, over 400 horsepower, different liners, pistons, cams, bigger carbs, manifold. It's also got stiffer suspension, gearbox rebuild, loads of internal work as well. As you can see, it's just exceptional condition. I absolutely love it. Not normally a massive fan of these. Well, I like them, but this one just looks superb, and the fact it's been so well modified just really appeals to me. What a car. This is guided at 90 to 110,000 pounds. So here we are with the black Aston Martin V8. Looks like it's going to make around the £100,000 mark. A lucky new owner. So this is a equally as beautiful 1960 XK150 Jaguar, obviously, a fixed head coupe. They made these, obviously followed on from the XK120s and 140s, so had a 3.4 litre inline 6 engine, with an optional 3.8. This is the 3.4, so 190 horsepower. The S versions went up to much higher power with 250, 265 horsepower. Yeah, full restoration on this, stripped back. It's the auto box has been changed for a 4-speed manual. Absolutely beautiful car, guided at 46 to 53,000, which seems quite reasonable for one of these in this condition. So on to another all-time British classic, Jaguar E-Type. This is a Series 1 coupe flat floor, which I think is the most desirable version of the E-Type. There were around 500 or so right-hand drives. 3.8 litre inline 6, making 285 horsepower. A lot for the time. This is, again, absolutely beautiful. These used to go for huge money. This is guided at 95 to 110,000 pounds. And here is that E-Type. It's struggling a bit. And the value of these does seem to have dropped quite a bit recently, actually. So the XK-120, 1952. Again, a stunningly beautiful car. Again, fully restored, guide price of 100 to 110,000. And here is a really special car. So this is a two-room copy of the Aston Martin DP214, which was a Le Mans race car from 1961 and through the early 60s, I think. This is actually guided, possibly the most expensive guide price I've ever seen, 525 to 600,000 pounds. I think only 2 originals were built, with one being destroyed at Nürburgring, and the original sold I think for 19 million or something. So this is all aluminium body, modified straight 6 engine, 385 horsepower. But yeah, it's been used for racing, one of 2 famous recreations. So here's the XK-120.
80,000 for the first time, 80,000 for the second time, third time.
Yep, not fetched as much as I thought. So outside, to see this Daimler 66. This is a 1990, so Series 3, Pininfarina design, of course, famously. The XJ40 had actually taken over in all but the 12 cylinders by this time, so it's quite a late model. You can see the sills aren't brilliant. Inside looks pretty good though. Fairly decent condition. And a bit more minor rust around the arches and sills. Very windy out here. I can't get in the boot. Yeah, it looks fairly decent inside, particularly the rear. Again, a bit of kind of rust coming through and bad paintwork there on the sills. Kind of to be expected. It's certainly not a concours example. It's pretty nice inside though. I may bid on this. On to 1992 Range Rover Classic. This is the Vogue SE. Always liked these, but never really had huge interest because they're either rotten or restored and costing a lot of money, crudely. But I guess there are some in between. This is really lovely example, though, I have to say. So this kind of first generation of Range Rover ran up to about 1996. This is the 3.9 V8 with a manual gearbox, and owned by one family since 1993. Apparently always garaged. You know, it's in excellent condition, really good. 87,000 miles. Looks, yeah, inside is as good as out. It's guided at 16 to 22,000 pounds. Which seems like a fairly good price actually, considering what these go for. Amazing, this interior really has aged well. Definitely one of the best I've seen. So Mark I, 1973 Ford Escort Mexico. Obviously a homage to the rally car, and the London to Mexico City World Cup rally obviously is what it was named after. This has been totally restored, it's got a more powerful engine. This has been totally restored, 7-year nut and bolt restoration, body stripped. It looks superb to me. Of course these had a more powerful engine and updated suspension, etc. I was talking to someone and they were trying to point out that the dash wasn't quite correct and that some of the body panels didn't seem to match in colour. My eye is not good enough and my knowledge not great enough to know if this is not quite correct. But it looks fantastic to me. These were fetching huge money, so I'd be interested to see what this goes for. It's guided £37,000 to £47,000. 8 Volante this time. So this is a 1979. I think you can just see with this light, unfortunately the bodywork's not perfect down there. Lovely in orchard green. Comes from 18-year ownership. Previously been restored. Obviously this has the 5.3 litre V8. But this has had a full rebuild to 6 litre. So yeah, another huge upgrade on this Aston Martin V8. Comes with the 6-speed auto box as well. 86,000 miles. Guided at £85,000 to £100,000. Quite a few pagodas here. This is a 1968 280 SL pagoda. So I guess this is top of the range for the time. 2.8 litre inline 6, probably the most desirable. Also with a 4-speed manual box, which I think is quite rare. Left-hand drive. Fully restored in 2018. Looks absolutely superb. These cars grow on me more and more the more I see these quality examples in the flesh. I really would love one. Guided at £70,000 to £80,000. So they don't come cheap. They certainly seem to hold their money well, these pagodas. And here it is coming through, the 280 SL pagoda. It's made well above guide price. That's a lot of money, but what a car. So here is the iconic Ferrari Testarossa. It's probably one of the ultimate poster pin-up cars, this. Instantly recognisable, a futuristic and fairly unique design really. Pininfarina designed, of course. This one's 1991. It's in Rosso Corsa with the crema interior, so desirable colour combination. This one's been owned since 1991. It's had loads of servicing and recommissioning. Looks absolutely fantastic. Guided at £90,000 to £110,000. I've seen them go cheaper than this, but this is a really good example. Flat 12, 5 litre mid-engined, 390 horsepower, 5-speed manual, and these went at 181 miles an hour, so pretty nippy back then. So here's the Testarossa, making well above guide price. It is an excellent example.
At £120,000, goes twice. Third and last at £120,000. Sold to you.
So here's a 1989 M635 CSI. See quite a lot of 635 CSIs at auctions. Not many M635s. This looks in brilliant condition actually. They always seem to age extremely well inside. Never ceases to amaze me how good they look in the interior on high miles. So yeah, the M obviously had the 3.5 litre engine from the M1 actually, 286 horsepower versus 220 I think in the standard. They do suffer a bit from rot underneath. This looks average. Probably doesn't come out very well in the light. It's not perfect, but it's a 1984 car. They also had a close range 5-speed gearbox as opposed to an auto, as well as chassis improvements, larger brakes, limited slip diff, body kit, etc. This one's got tons of history, 114,000 miles. Looks pretty good, guided at 30 to 35,000 pounds. I expect it'll make somewhere near that.
The reserve is off at 28.5.
Here is the M65 CSI.
At 28.5 twice, third and last, and it goes at 28,500.
Not quite, just under reserve.
Sold your way, sir. 28.5. What's your...
So another Jaguar E-Type. This is a Series 3 Roadster. This one's a V12, automatic. Lovely interior. Looks superb in this British racing green as well, and that tan leather. Yeah, another lovely car. This one's got the factory hardtop. It's had 4 keepers from new. It's full bare metal respray, which is why it looks so good. Lots of recommissioning and upgrades. About £40,000 spent on it in 2015, and you can tell it's another brilliant example. This one's guided at £90,000 to £100,000. Interesting. I thought the flat floor would be guided slightly higher than this, but probably just showing my lack of E-Type knowledge. So onto a big Healey. So this is a 1964 Austin Healey 3000, so Mark III. This obviously had a 3-litre engine, as opposed to smaller 2.4 and 2.6s they also did. This one's not in quite such good condition. You can see some paintwork damage and minor bits of rust poking through. I'm being picky, you know, it's an 1964 car. There's quite a big hole in that transmission tunnel cover though. It has, by the looks of it, had some new seats as well. Yeah, this isn't in brilliant condition. You can see the rust on the boot lid and some of the bodywork there. I think it's really just a comparison with some of the other cars here, which are in such superb condition. That's guided at 27 to 34. Sounds a bit strong for me.
We're all done, thank you. 66 a bit there, all done elsewhere.
Here's the E-Type. Nowhere near reserve.
Third and final time at £66,000. It's not going to buy the car, I'm afraid. We're going to pass on that one.
So 1976 Mark II Escort RS2000. This has been obviously extensively modified, as you can see, as a kind of fast road or rally car. Different seats, steering wheel, gear stick, suspension. It's got a slip diff, different brakes and exhaust look. Yeah, so I don't know how this will appeal to people who often like them unadulterated. Obviously different wheels. It's also got a bored out engine, I believe. 2.1 litre now. I love it. Guided at 18 to 23,000. Here is the RS2000. Well, it's going to make over reserve, so it looks like I'm not the only one who likes this. 2008 Ferrari F430. This is in beautiful condition, Rossa Corsa, crema interior. I think these had the Enzo rear headlights, someone might be able to correct me. And Ferrari certainly know how to dress an engine. 4.3 V8 there, 485 horsepower at 8,500 RPM. Importantly, gated manual. This is in wonderful condition. Superb history, stored for the last 4 years with some recommissioning work. One owner, 2,500 miles. This will make strong money. 105 to 135,000 guided. So here is the F430. It's making well above guide. I guess because it's such low mileage, but you can get these start in the kind of 70s. So 2009 Aston Martin DB9 Volante in white, 6 litre V12. So it's got a few chips and a bit of paintwork damage. Yeah, it looks okay inside. Quite dirty here. I know it's minor, but I judge a car like this because it shows how well it's generally been kept. Bit of bolster wear. Call me picky. And there's some light scuffing on the paintwork here. That'll probably come out. Again, being picky, but people who buy these cars often are picky. This one's guided at 22 to 26,000. Not sure it'll make that. So awesome car, I absolutely love these. This is a 2004 SL65 AMG. Obviously the V12 bi-turbo in this. What an engine, 600 horsepower, crazy amount of torque, 1,000 Newton meters, limited to 1,000 Newton meters. And to see this 20 years ago when this came out, just incredible. Obviously this pretty similar engine was put in the Pagani Hyura, and I've had a very similar engine, so the M275 this is, in the 65s. AMG bought out the 5.5 to 6 litre, the 5.5 was in the Mercedes S600, which I have. So smooth, loads of power, so I love these.
70,000, the car is on sale.
Here is the SL65.
We are on sale at 70,000. Right.
Guided 82 to 92.
Anybody wish to go 71? On sale,
But it's
make no mistake.
going to make a bit lower than that by the looks of it.
Second time in 70,000. Third and last, going to go £70,000. Sold.
So I come back to look at this MGC GT actually. I missed it out earlier, and I've come back and seen it's a really nice example. And you don't actually see that many of these. High performance version of the B, effectively. You can tend to tell the bonnet bulge on it. 15-inch wheels, had a 2.9 straight 6 engine in it. Lovely car. And then this Triumph GT6 Mark III, also beautiful. It's effectively a fastback version of the Spitfire. It had a 2-litre inline 6 engine. And this has had a full nut and bolt rebuild restoration in 2016, so it looks superb, as you can see, and guided at £14,000 to £17,000. And then here is another Pagoda, so 1968 200 SL Pagoda. Yeah, this one is beautiful as well. 2.8 inline 6 engine, of course, manual gearbox. Obviously the famous removable hardtop which gave them the Pagoda name. This is another lovely car, left-hand drive, imported from the States in 2016. Guided at 41 to 48, seems like fairly good value compared with some of the others that are here. Still a lot of money. Another Aston Martin, so an Aston Martin Rapide 2012. So this is Aston's 4-door fastback saloon, based on the DB9. This looks really nice. You don't see too many of these, I have to say. So this is the V12, 470 horsepower in these from the V12. It's got rear screens. Yeah, nice condition. It's 51,000 miles, but it is a Cat-S, Category S write-off. So yeah, see what this makes. Looks lovely though, good condition. So another ubiquitous auction car, Mark I Focus RS. And another lovely condition car. No worries on these sills or arches by the looks of it. The famous kind of rust spots on these. These of course are 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, 212 horsepower I believe, and of course famed for their handling, McPherson struts at the front and a Quaife limited slip diff. Not perfect here, whether that's been some minor repair. It's got an excellent history. It's unmodified, 53,000 miles, guided at 17 to 23,000, which seems about right compared to some of the others I've seen. You may have seen my previous auction video where one went for, I think, low 30s. So passing the Mark II Jaguar there, which is lovely, onto this 1991 Aston Martin Virage. British Racing Green, looks lovely. Recently been recommissioned. So these had the 5.3 litre V8. I think around 330 or so horsepower. Huge gap there between the arches and the wheels. Interesting. Which I've never really realised. Yeah, lovely looking from the outside. This is guided at 20 to 26,000, which seems relatively good value. Not so great on the interior though. You can see this wood's in pretty poor condition. Top of the door card as well. Yeah, not sure how well it'll come out, but it's not great condition inside. It does happen with the lacquer peel on the wood on these, etc., and then it gets damaged when the lacquer comes off. Yeah, looks reasonable. Smells a bit musty, I have to say. Definitely a slightly damp old car smell. And, you know, bits of blistering and rust at the bottom of the door here. Probably on some other places as well if I investigated further. So here is that Virage. I mean, it seems fairly guided considering these go for the 40s normally. So 2005 Aston Martin DB9. I was kind of considering this, but I'm just too scared. A bit of damage or repair potentially there. I just get put off by the stories of the early V12s in these. It looks like we've got some bad headlight fogging up there. You know, the potential problems with these V12s, which are obviously very expensive to fix. This isn't great condition, if I'm honest. It's also a Cat D. Here it is, the DB9, guided 13 to 17. Yeah, below reserve. So 2012 Ferrari FF. I have a real soft spot for these. I'm not quite sure why. I don't think they're necessarily the prettiest car. But they're the Ferrari's Grand Tourer. They came along with a 6.3 litre V12, 650 horsepower naturally aspirated engine, 200 mile an hour, supposedly family, well, four-seater car. I guess that's why I love it. It was the fastest four-seater, I think, back in 2012 when it was launched. This looks lovely. So this is another XKR-S car, which will obviously massively affect its price. I think it's fair to say the paintwork didn't look great, and it's definitely well used, let's say, in here. Yeah, compared, most Ferraris are, or many Ferraris are pristine condition. This isn't pristine, it's just been well used, nothing bad about it. Guided 68 to 75. They usually make 80s and up.
Well, this is going well below.
I guess the fact it was Cat-S.
Well below.
So this is a 2000 Mercedes, year 2002, sorry, Mercedes SL500. It's an R320, and you can see, I came over and saw this, is this a black series? It's got a huge amount of body kit, so you can see the wide arches. It says black series on the back. This is a standard SL500, just modified to look like the black series. So this is a lovely car, one I was potentially quite interested in. So 1996 DB7, supercharged inline 6. Looks in really nice condition. And an unusual colour, but looks stunning in this colour. It's a one-owner car, absolutely superb history. Many thousands spent on it. But why am I put off? It's just the auto box. I probably only ever want one of these in a manual. It's no reserve though as well, so you know someone could get a really lovely car here. So this is definitely one of the best XKRs I've seen. So this is a 2005 XKR-S white badge, so one of the end of the line of the X100s. I think 200 of these made. Some kind of visual modifications, but also they had firmer springs and anti-roll bars. I think 10mm lower, quicker rack, upgraded brakes, 20-inch BBS wheels. and this frost blue metallic paintwork looks absolutely beautiful. Got a really good history, and look at this interior, it's lovely. I do love Jags from this era, I have to say. So I've got this engine, this is the 4.2 supercharged V8. I've got this engine in my XJ Super V8, same gearbox as well, I believe, ZF 6-speed I think. Lovely, so smooth and powerful, loads of torque. This looks lovely, only 24,000 miles. This is a lovely, like I say, one of the best I've probably ever seen of this generation. So this is a really interesting car, never seen one before. 1925 Hudson Super 6 Tourer. I saw it in the catalogue. It is massive when you see it in person. Look how tall it is. It's had some restoration but needs a bit more recommissioning. But what an awesome car. I guess a fairly niche market for these. This is guided at 18 to 24,000 pounds. Well, if I had a very big garage and unlimited funds, this would be brilliant to have. So another Austin Healey. This is a 1957 106. It's got loads of history. It's also had quite a lot of kind of subtle modifications. Yeah, looks nice in here as well. It's kind of a rally spec car. It's upgraded shocks, upgraded head I think on the engine and carbs, lightened flywheel. Yeah, really nice. Again, I'm not quite sure how this will go with the purists. I love it. You can see the kind of rally headlights, etc. Guided at 41 to 48,000. Yeah, really nice condition as well. So another Ferrari here, 2004 360. Obviously Spider, the roof down here. These had a 3.6 litre V8, 400 horsepower, obviously naturally aspirated. As you can see, these got the gated manual gearbox. Paintwork's not great, just you know, polish out. It's been washed by perhaps not very carefully, dare I say. Love the engine display as well. Yeah, it's been stored for a while and then had about £14,000 spent on it in on a recommission. So iconic car here, 1970 Jensen Interceptor. I think this is an early Mark II. You know, there were, I think, around 700 or so of these in right-hand drive. You can see the Italian design. Oh, these have the American Chrysler 6.3 V8 in them, so 330 horsepower. Obviously made in Britain. And this had a full restoration in 2015. Looks lovely. Guided at 26 to 34,000, which seems relatively good value for an Interceptor. I've seen them go for a lot more. So here is the Interceptor.
£23,000 and it goes in Essex favour, Alden at 23. Essex provisional to you at 23, goes 5012.
So on to this 1997 SL60 AMG. So this is R129 generation, lovely blue with tan leather interior. Yeah, another kind of iconic car really, 6 litre V8 in these. Mercedes had 380 horsepower, but most people seem to think they were actually known to be near 410 horsepower or so, so quite a big hike. This is an XK140 fixed head coupe, 1955. It's not perfect, but well cared for. Paintwork needs a bit of work. 25 to 32 is the guide price there. And here is a pretty rare car, so 1961 Bentley S2 Continental by Mulliner. This is really beautiful. The paintwork is obviously a fairly original condition and obviously needs some work. It says that the vendor wanted to leave it like this for originality, so the new owner might want to redo that, I guess. So the Continentals were made to be kind of faster and more comfortable than the standard versions. What a beautiful looking thing. You just don't get design like this any longer, do you? So this has a guide price of £145,000 to £165,000. Yeah, I think 200 horsepower, 4-speed auto in these. It's also got this green interior as well as the mist green paintwork. It was purchased in 2017 for £265,000, then had £30,000 spent on it. And has a history dating back to 1978. Here is the Bentley. It's nowhere near reserve.
We're going to pass on that now, I'm afraid, gents. Please have a chat with the officer.
So on to an Aston Martin Vanquish 2002. So this is the 2+2 version. It's pretty tiny rear seats, to be honest. 6-litre V12, of course. Previous Aston Martin demonstrator, this one. Only 55,000 miles, so fairly low. It's got the sports dynamic pack. Those wheels are a bit mashed up, if I'm honest. Pretty difficult to design to avoid curbing on, potentially. And some of the paintwork's not perfect, but you know, it's a 22-year-old car. Guide price is 34 to 38,000 on this. It's got the sports dynamic package as well, which had different steering and suspension and brakes. Yeah, it looks pretty decent other than those parts that I pointed out. Minor imperfections that could be corrected. Past the R107 300 SL there, to this 1966 230 SL Pagoda, another Pagoda. So this is a left-hand drive, originally US model, imported to the UK in 2018. So obviously inline 6 engine, had 11,000 spent on it since its import. Another nice looking car, guided at 56 to 64,000 pounds. And another Ferrari. This one's a California, 2+2, obviously kind of 2+2, so pretty small seats again back here. Kind of Grand Tourer, and the entry-level Ferrari, first front-engined V8, guided at 58 to 65,000. So I don't normally go in for these kind of recreation type cars. This is a 1999 Z GT, made by Classic Coachworks. So it's based on a 2.8 litre BMW Z3. Less than 800 miles covered since its build. I'm kind of featuring this one because it really is exceptionally good looking. Interior, exterior, I mean, really high quality. It guided 18 to 24,000. I struggle to see it selling just because maybe people don't want this kind of car, they want originals, but wonderful piece of work. Perhaps one of the most modern cars here, 2015 Mercedes S63L. I always quite like these because of the ridiculous luxury. Ah, I thought they had soft closed doors on these as standard. Perhaps not. Brakes seem alright, take quite a beating on a car of this weight, but real luxury with still pretty impressive performance. I mean, these are probably what, mid fours, 0 to 60 or something like that. 575 horsepower, I think these were. And the interiors are lovely, just really high quality in these S-classes. This is guided at 33 to 36. I think that's a bit high. You can get them a bit less than that. So this is the M157 bi-turbo V8 running this. I had this in another car, in my E63 5.5. It's an epic engine, very tunable. So this is a 2015 AMG GTS Premium. You can see it's wrapped in matte grey. I guess that may limit its appeal, perhaps not to my taste. This used the 4-litre twin-turbo V8, of course, 500 horsepower, 7-speed dual clutch. But if I was going for one of these, it's great value now, I think, but if I was going for one, I'd get the C or the R, which had wider track. You can see quite a lot of imperfections, even though this is a wrap. Quite a lot of marks, perhaps driving down the country lanes or something here. Yeah, I'd go for the C or the R, which had the wider track, of course, rear steer, and quite a few other dynamic upgrades, I guess you'd call them. This is more of the more basic entry-level type AMG GT. Still a great car, don't get me wrong, lovely. Here is the AMG GT, guided at £37,000 to £45,000.
35 for the second time, third and last at £35,000 all done. 35 goals provisionally, 36.71.
So passing the CL500, which I was kind of tempted by. I had an S500 of a similar era with the 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8. And coming on to this 1968 Series 2A, I'm always kind of drawn to the Series Land Rovers. This one looks lovely with a full respray, and I think this is Grasmere green. Underside is excellent. It's had a lot of work done on this, I think. Yeah, it looks really nice. It's a good paint job. Sometimes on these, even with a respray, they're not always the highest quality, I find. But this looks great. Inside as well, look at that. It's pristine. New seats and everything. Yep, this is really nice. I do actually already have a 1959 Series 2, so I guess I really don't need this, but I'm always drawn to them. LED lights, as you can see, galvanised chassis at the back here, you can see. Quite a new canvas hood, all new in the back as well. Yeah, it's had a proper job, this one. And why I was particularly drawn to it is also because of the... Oh, just noticed, yeah, this is a petrol, and why I was drawn to it is because it actually has a Ford Essex V6 in it, which is quite unusual. Let's see if we can have a look. Here we go. So, and actually this is one of the reasons I'm put off this. It's offered with no reserve, but I'm looking at the paperwork. It's had quite a few engine issues, not done many miles over quite a few more years. So I think this might struggle to sell a bit. We'll see. So another Aston Martin DB9. This is 2005, 81,000 miles with 4 keepers. 6 litre V12, of course. This one looks better than a couple of the others that are here. And it's guided at £17,000 to £23,000. I have to say the interiors can suffer a bit here. This isn't too bad. It's obviously worn on the bolster, etc. Yeah, this is better than the light silver one. So we'll see what this goes for. So on to a Mercedes E63 AMG. Paintwork's not great on this, some scuffs, etc. Most of it will come out. You can see being black. You can probably see in this light. Needs a good polish, to be honest. Yeah, and wheels could probably do with a refurb here and there. So this is obviously the 6.2 litre engine, famous M156 engine, 500-ish horsepower. So I had a similar era E63, but actually with the 5.5 twin turbo. I actually prefer that engine. It's tunable, gives more power, much more torque. Yeah, you can see the wheels diamond cut, a bit of a nightmare, but they're nice forged alloys, I think, these ones. So, but yeah, this engine, the M156, sounds way better. But you're kind of slightly more limited. It does have its fair share of issues, as every engine does. This is pre-facelift, you can see with the lights. I prefer the facelift design on these W212s. It's had the 7G Tronic gearbox, which isn't the best. The facelift had the MCT gearbox, which is, in my opinion, much better, much more responsive. This is well spec'd. You can see with the seats. Yeah, so it had 5,000 recently spent on it, full service history, but no paperwork. So you know, I'm put off. I was going to bid on this, but I'm put off. That's 13 to 18,000 guide. If they can't put the paperwork in, I'm not sure how they expect it to sell, if I'm honest. So this is a really interesting car. 2004 Toyota Century. So this is a V12. It's the Japanese flagship model. You don't see these very often at all, particularly in Europe, of course. Had a 5-litre Lexus V12 engine. Very Asian looking inside. I love it. I like unusual things. It's only, I think, 275 horsepower or so. But adjustable air ride suspension. All this in the back. Incredible luxury, you know, similar to a kind of S-Class, I suppose, guided at 12 to 17,000 pounds, something a bit different. So M3 Evolutions, there's a couple of these here. One with an SMG here. Had loads of work done on it, full engine rebuild in 2002, diff rebuilt in 22. Guided at 15 to 20,000. Yeah, seems fairly steep to me. So another Evolution convertible manual. So probably more desirable here. Lighter interior. Paintwork's not brilliant. These were great though. 3.2 litre high revving engine. And a Series 1, so this is 1956. It's had a full body off restoration and looks really, really good. I did come in here and notice a lot of oil leaking. It's been mopped up now. It looked like the transfer box and possibly even the gearbox are all new. So it's had the full works. This door doesn't fit particularly well. I'm not uncommon on these, but I guess if it's had a full restoration, I'd perhaps expect it to fit a bit better. But this is guided at 15 to 19,000 pounds, which I actually think is, you know, fairly decent value. The early ones fetch a bit more money, I guess. TD5 110 Land Rover, Defender 110. I always like these. And on to another Series 1, this is 1957. Again, had a ground-up restoration. The body panels on this are quite dented, and as you can see, probably. So not quite such good condition. I don't think the paint job's maybe quite as good as the other one. Full engine build recently for £4,000 though. And again, 14,000 to 16,000 pounds seems like a reasonable guide price. So we go past more lovely old Mercedes, XKR-S, etc. There's a lot of good cars here. This is perhaps where the slightly cheaper ones are. And as I kind of end, maybe just a few comments on this auction. There's loads of fantastic cars here, almost concours cars, and these are perhaps more affordable here. Great spectrum of cars. One issue I have with this, slight issue I suppose with the auction, is all these cars need to be out of this facility tomorrow. So if you do buy one, you have to get it out in 24 hours, I guess. And that's not necessarily a huge problem, but for me, I often make spur-of-the-moment purchases, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult. I'm used to getting, you know, at least 2 or 3 days usually to collect the car and make arrangements. So that does put me off a little bit. But overall, what a fantastic place to come and see these wonderful cars. I thought I'd just end with a quick look around some of the real vintage cars and a walk through some of the Mercedes history here at Mercedes Benz World. As you can see, dating right back to the kind of early 1900s, I guess. It's a 1907 car with a 10-litre engine, 80 horsepower. This is a 6.9 engine 450 SL, which I almost bought a few weeks ago at an auction. Legendary car. And of course the German touring cars here. Look at this, absolutely awesome thing. Such a cool look. Signed by many famous people. And here are the some of the Mercedes F1 cars through the years. So actually starting here with one of the more recent ones, 2021 model, I think this is. So these were a 1.6 V6 turbo hybrid, I think. I'm not very up on Formula 1, so you'll have to forgive me. So this is a 2015 era car, all kind of 850, 900 horsepower or something from a 1.6 hybrid system, which is just insane. So I think this is a 2008 era car, and these had a 2.4 litre engine, 800 horsepower still. And then finally 1998, a 3 litre engine and just under 800 horsepower. Yeah, pretty cool to see this though. And round the corner they've got an excellent kind of deconstructed Formula 1 car hanging up, so. Just thought I'd show you this because it's pretty cool. Every part strung from a wire on the ceiling, which is pretty cool. I like this. Well, with that, I will say thanks very much for watching. Watch out, I've got some more videos coming soon, some other auctions I'm going to. And please do check out some of my videos on the cars that I own. Quite a range of different cars, AMGs, Land Rovers, a Noble, lots of other things. So yeah, thanks very much for watching.